Good morning, class. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Good? I'm so glad to hear that. So today we're going to be starting a new lesson, learning about the jobs around the community. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited too. So before we begin our lesson, we're going to get up and dance to this song about the jobs that we seek on a daily basis. Okay? So, moving on, that was such a good song. Thank you guys for dancing and participating. Before we begin the lesson, we're going to talk about the standard, which is what we're going to be tested on today. So, the English language arts standard is present information orally using complete sentences. So, Alex, can you repeat what I just said?
Present information orally using complete sentences.
So when it says orally, do you know what orally is? No? So it's just using words, like talking to me, like how we're doing right now. I'm going to be seeing if when we talk you're using complete sentences, you're being clear. Yeah? Okay. And then the social studies standard is describe different kinds of jobs that people do and the tools or equipment used. Our objective for this lesson is given a matching activity with jobs and tools. Students will identify and match the correct job with a tool or equipment with 4 out of 5 correct or 80%. Alex, can you read our objective to the class, please?
Given a matching activity with jobs and tools, students will identify and match the correct job with a tool or equipment with 4 out of 5 correct or 80.
Yes, thank you, Alex. So, jobs. What is a job?
Someone who works for something.
Okay, so you're thinking of it like a person works at a job, yeah. And can you name some examples of jobs? Like, what are some jobs that you've seen around?
A nurse.
A nurse, okay.
A doctor.
Yeah.
Fireman.
Okay, it seems like you know a lot of jobs. That's good. So, vocabulary. We're going to go over some vocabulary that we need to know before we start the lesson to make sure there's no confusion. So, a job. It's a regular position, what someone does for a living. So, like for me, my job is to be a teacher. This is what I do for a living. This is what I get paid to do. I get to teach kids. The community, it's a place where a group of people live, so the people that live around you. Tool, it's an instrument that is held with the hands and helps you do something. So for me, I'm a teacher, so maybe my tool will be like a pen to write or like a screen, a whiteboard. But a tool for every job is different. Like, I don't think you'll see a doctor, writing on a whiteboard, math problems, things like that. It's different for everyone. And equipment, things made or used for a certain activity. So, like I said, there's certain things like a doctor might have this thing called a stethoscope to check your heart. I don't think a teacher will really have that in the classroom. So every job is different. They have different equipment. And uniform, a special outfit or clothing worn by people of a group. So, a uniform may be different for a doctor than for a teacher, or someone that passes a mail, called a mail carrier. They might not wear the same uniform as a fireman. So before we begin, I'm going to give you a bell ringer to complete. You'll have a couple minutes. For this, I will orally read each job to you guys. So the first one on the top, doctor. All you have to do is match this job right here, doctor, to the picture that shows a doctor. So if you think it's number 1, you'll just do a line across. If you think it's number 2, you'll do a line kind of diagonally, or so whatever you think it is. So then the second job is fireman. So the same thing, you're just gonna do a line to match it. The third job is teacher. Same thing, you'll just do a line whichever direction to match the picture that shows you a teacher. Number 4, the fourth word, nurse. You'll just match it again. And then policeman. Okay, I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. Okay, good job. So we're gonna go over the answers. Number 1, the first picture, it shows a fireman, so you should have matched it like shown on the screen. Good job, Alex, I see you did it correctly. Number 2 was a doctor, so you should have matched it to the first word. Number 3 was a policeman, so you should have matched it to the bottom one. Number 4 is a teacher, and then number 5 was a nurse. So some of the jobs we're going to be talking about today are a doctor. These are some of the tools or equipment used by them. This is kind of how a doctor would dress, how you would see them in a hospital, in a clinic. Firemen, this is the tools or equipment they use and their uniform. And a teacher, see, using a board, kind of like me, I'm using a screen to teach. And then some things you would use, board, computer, desk. We'll also learn about a nurse. These are some things that nurses use, like we talked about. This is a stethoscope, mask, Band-Aids. This is how she would dress in scrubs. Their uniform is scrubs. And policemen. These are some of the things you'll see policemen have also. Tools. And then kind of a picture of how they would be dressed. So a doctor. A doctor is a person who treats illness and injuries. They give advice related to health. So Alex, what's one piece of equipment, tool, uniform that can help you remember this person is a doctor?
A first aid kit.
Okay, yeah. What else? How would you know that this is a doctor? What are they wearing that would help you know this is a doctor?
Vest.
Okay, a vest or a white coat, yeah. And then these are some more equipment they use. And what equipment does a doctor use?
Band-Aids.
Yeah, okay.
First aid kit.
Yep, good. Firemen, people whose job is to put out fires and rescue people. So you can kind of see how their uniform and the equipment they use is kind of different from a doctor. So just look at the picture, you see they wear boots, they use fire hoses to put out fires. You know, they're kind of dressed very differently. What uniform does a fireman wear? Can you describe what they wear? Like, what are some things
They wear a helmet.
Helmet, yeah.
Mask.
Okay.
Boots.
Yeah, good job. You described 3 good ones. A teacher. A teacher is a person who helps people to learn. They work in a classroom like me. I'm a teacher. Not yet, but we're getting there. They use a board like we talked about. They help kids, students, and then they use a lot of different equipment. They use a computer like how I'm using. They use books to help. They use a board, notebooks, pencils, paper, markers, so many things. So what does a teacher do?
They help people learn about stuff.
Yeah, they help people learn. It could be anything. They could be helping someone learn about math, science, so many different things they can help you learn about. A nurse. Nurses give medicine, they change bandages, they help patients move around and provide medical treatment. So kind of like a doctor, a nurse also works in a hospital, in a clinic. They help people. They help sick people feel better. And they use a lot of different equipment. They use like a thermometer to check your temperature. They use gloves to make sure they're not touching things with their bare hands and getting dirty. Band-Aids. Who has the job of helping sick people?
A doctor.
A doctor? Okay, that's a good answer. Yeah, who else has a job of helping sick people? Nurse, yeah. So a doctor and a nurse, they're both fairly good answers and they're both correct. So policemen, people whose job is to make sure that citizens follow the law and do not harm others. Have you seen a policeman before? Yeah, you have. I've seen them around too. So they use kind of different equipment. Do you think a policeman will use the same equipment as a doctor? No, right? They use kind of different things, like they wear like these vests to protect them. They have like a little badge so we know that they are police. They use a whistle if they're helping like outside with traffic, things like that. And they have a police car that has the lights, so for emergencies, cars know where to move and give them away. So what job does this person have? We're looking at the equipment that is used. So we see a vest, we see kind of like a hat, we see a whistle, we see a badge, we see a car. So what job is this? Whose job is this? Police. Good job. So now I want you guys to talk to the person next to you about the job your parents have. Okay? Okay, Alex, would you like to share what you spoke about with your peer next to you? What job your parent has?
My mom is a housekeeper.
Okay.
And my dad's an electrician.
Oh, okay, very nice. You see, very different jobs. We haven't gotten that far into learning about those jobs, but those are some very interesting jobs to have. And they're very important. So there is so many jobs that we're gonna learn about. So let's talk about what we just learned. Alex, what were the jobs we learned about today? Can you name them for me?
A doctor,
Okay.
a nurse, a fireman, a policeman, and a teacher.
Oh, good job. You got all of them. We did learn about all those 5. Who has a job of fighting fires?
Fireman.
Firemen, good job. And what tools does a teacher use?
A ruler, markers, scissors, glue, color pencils.
So many, right? So many things that are in the classroom that teachers would use and their students. Yeah, good job. You list so many good ones. Who can tell me the vocabulary words we use this lesson? Do you remember any of the vocabulary words we reviewed before and what we used during the lesson?
Tools.
Yes, we talked about tools, which are the things that certain jobs use. Every job is different.
I forgot.
It's okay. So you got one of them. You remembered one of them. You remembered tools. So we talked about tools, yeah, or equipment. We talked about uniform, which is, different for every job. Every job wears a different uniform. Community. What is a community? Do you remember?
Like a whole bunch of people in one place.
Yeah. So like everyone lives in one area. They're a community. And then a job. We talked about a couple jobs. And now, Alex, can you tell me one job you enjoy learning about today?
Fireman.
Fireman. Oh, I like learning about that too. That was really fun. So going over again what our standards were for this lesson, which is what our goal was to learn about. We learned the English language arts. We presented information orally, which is how we did it. We were just talking to each other using complete sentences. And our social studies one, we described different kinds of jobs. We described how many jobs today? How many jobs did we talk about? 5, yes. And that people do and the tools or equipment we use. Did we talk about the tools and equipment that all the jobs we talked about did or had? Yes, good. And then our objective, given a matching activity with jobs and tools, students will identify and match the correct job with the tool or equipment with 4 out of 5 correct. Can you read our objective again, Alex, to the class?
Given a matching activity with jobs and tools, students will identify and match the correct job with the tool or equipment with 4 out of 5 correct or A, B.
Good job, Alex. And I want to know, on a scale of 1 to 5, you can show me with your hand, how comfortable do you feel about the lesson we learned about today? So do you feel like, I feel like I need more practice, more activities to help me learn, or 5, like I know this lesson, I can teach someone else, I can move on. What do you feel, Alex? Wow, okay, I'm glad to see that you feel comfortable with this lesson. Good job. You guys did a great job for this lesson. You guys did amazing. And I hope you guys learned about these jobs.